going on?
I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just please, don't leave.
Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of Commissioner's Corner. I'm your host, City Commissioner Joe Rozell, and on today's show I have two guests, our Public Safety Director, Andrew Pazhowski, and Jay Mader from our DPW, and we'll be talking about issues that are important to Huntington Woods residents. So Chief, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
You've been with the city almost 3 years now, and you're doing a fine job, and I'm wondering if you could tell the residents a little bit about maybe your background before you came and joined us here in Huntington Woods.
Yes, I graduated from Central Michigan University with a bachelor's degree. I also obtained a master's in public administration from Central Michigan University also.
Great.
I'm also a graduate of the FBI National Academy. I graduated in 2009, which I'm very proud of. Only 1% of law enforcement has an opportunity to attend.
Wow.
So I was very fortunate to be able to go. Also, my whole career in law enforcement and the fire service was in Grosse Pointe Woods. Grosse Pointe Woods was 3.3 square miles. We had 16,000 residents. I also became the police chief or public safety director there in my last 5 years of service before I came here to Huntington Woods.
Great.
I also had several opportunities in regards to education and the fire service. I'm a company officer 1, 2, and 3 in a lot of advanced classes that I've taken over the years. So I've had and I'm also a licensed state paramedic through the state of Michigan. Still kept my licensure even though I go out there with the troops now, responding to ambulance calls, but I've done what was required to keep that certification. I've had that since 1980.
That's great.
So.
Extensive background.
Yeah, pretty much so, yes.
And we're lucky to have you, and Huntington Woods being unique, having a public safety department, and you coming from a public safety department kind of seems like a natural transition, understanding the role that our officers.
Yeah, absolutely, and I feel that Huntington Woods is very similar to the Grosse Pointes. We strive to give as much customer service or residents the service that they deserve. It was the same way in Grosse Pointe, and obviously the same way here. That bedroom communities, I really enjoy working for this type of community.
That's great.
Yeah.
And speaking about our department, although it's a smaller department, we tend to provide a lot of great services to our residents, and some services that folks may not know about at home. And so I wonder if we could talk about some of those services that we provide, and maybe we can put on the screen while we're talking some opportunities of how residents may even be able to sign up for some of those services.
Sure. When I came on board, I worked very closely with the city manager, Amy Sullivan, to try to brainstorm as many personal services as that we could give from the public safety department. The first one that we implemented was what we used to call in Grosse Pointe was Kind Call. Okay. And it's for our seniors, and quite a few people have signed up for it. I'd like to see more. But what it is anybody that may have an elderly parent that lives in town, or they themselves are elderly and don't have a next of kin or somebody that can take care of them,
okay,
or call them every day. What we do is every morning we set up a set time for them, usually about 9 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Our dispatcher will then call their home to make sure that they're okay. They answer the phone, we tell them have a nice day, and we move on. If for some reason they get up because they have an appointment or a date, they call us, they let us know everything's okay, they're going out to breakfast, they're going out with friends, and then we just record that. If we do not receive a phone call from that resident, we send an officer to the home. What we do is we either, this resident will usually have a Knox box, which is a box which I'll talk about as another service that we offer.
Okay.
It's attached to the home where we have a key where we can go into that box, and it's the key to get inside their home. So if they don't answer the phone call, we then enter their home to make sure that they're okay.
Okay.
It's a great service, and I highly recommend it. All they have to do is call our dispatch center and sign up for that. In fact, it's online, it's on our website,
Okay,
so
great.
they can sign up there. The next, in relation to that, is also the Knox box service.
Okay.
Knox box actually started with the commercial industry, and what it is, it looks like a little safe that's attached to the business. There's a key in there that we can access to get inside that building in case of a fire or an emergency.
Sure.
Well, now Knoxbox, the company, has offered this to residential homes. So you can purchase it it's between $100 and $200 for the box.
Okay.
They install the box in an area in the home where we know where we would be located. Some are using the front of the home for law enforcement. We keep a key on our fire truck. If for some reason we had to get into your home, whether it was a fire alarm or an emergency, and we couldn't access the home without forcing entry into the home, if you have a Knox box, we can go in there, get the key, and we can gain access to the home.
That's great. It'd save you having to break in someone's front door, and maybe if there was an emergency and the expense of having a homeowner having to replace that door, that Knox box would allow you to just enter through the front door.
Absolutely. It's a great tool, and I highly recommend that. And that's for anybody. The other service that we're offering, which is free to our residents, is the Child Care Safety Seat Program.
Yes.
I certified Officer Todd Tyler. There was a whole week training that he had to go to. Actually, it was in Tennessee to be certified in the safely installing car seats. A lot of parents don't realize there's more to just hooking into the car, and there's
Sure.
things they need to know. A lot of times, certain hospitals will offer that, but any resident that would like us to check or verify to make sure their car seat is installed properly, we can make an appointment with Todd Tyler, and they can come into the station, and we make sure that that's secure.
And that's a hugely popular service that I've heard feedback from residents on that they love it. You know, they're able to just, pull in, he comes out, assists them, shows them how to do it, and gets that child safety seat in there, and a lot of positive feedback. So I'm really glad that you implemented that program and that we have a public safety officer who's able to do that.
Yes, that's been very good for the community. The other, the community notification service that we started is Nixle, which
Yes.
is very popular in all the counties. I highly recommend everybody to actually, it's a free service, which actually is a notification to your phone and to your email. Initially, we send up to 123 characters as a text message.
Great.
And that's in regards to whether it's a police or fire incident that may be occurring. We may be responding to a crime, and we're looking for a suspect, or just to alert residents to stay into their home. We also use the service for water main breaks, power lines that are down, road construction, as far as closures. So this way they could reroute coming in or leaving our city. So it's an excellent service, and as I said, the small message or the text message would go to your phone, and then a detailed message would then go to your email.
Okay.
In regards to exactly what's going on. That too, like I said, is a free service.
And it's a service that residents definitely should consider signing up for. There's a lot of different communication mechanisms that we utilize, like our city e-blast and others, but if there's an emergency in the city and we need to communicate information to you quickly, this is definitely the service that you'll want to sign up for, and you'll be able to notify folks of very critically important things.
Absolutely, absolutely. The next is the prescription drug box drop-off. It's been received by the residents greatly. I mean, we've had a lot of people use our drug box. And what we did is actually work with the Tri-Coalition that offered to place that box into our lobby at the Public Safety Department. And then we're responsible, obviously, law enforcement, then to make sure those drugs are properly disposed of.
Okay.
We highly recommend the residents to do that. We don't want them to throw these prescription drugs down the toilet or in the
Right.
regular trash.
Right.
So it's there. They can come into the station basically at any time. They can get into there. We're there 24/7. We prefer they come through, obviously, from the hours of 8:30 to 5. But if for some reason they can't get there by 5 o'clock. If they call us, there's a standby officer that we could allow them into the lobby and allow that to happen. But we prefer them to come through 8:30 to 5 to do that.
That's great. A lot of folks don't realize when they flush those unused medications down the toilet, the water filtration systems don't always filter all of those meds out,
Right.
so then they end up back in the drinking water.
Right.
And so this is a great opportunity, rather than, as the chief said, rather than throw them in the trash and have them end up in the landfill and breaking down possibly into the groundwater there, or flushing them down a toilet, ending up back into our drinking water. There's a box right in the lobby there, and you just put them in a plastic bag, right? A clear plastic
Yes,
bag.
yes.
Just put them into a clear plastic bag, take them out of your prescription bottle with your name on it, just pour them into a Ziploc bag, and then you just deposit them right into the metal container there.
Right, it looks basically like a mailbox when you come in.
Great.
And then every week our detective, we put it downstairs in our property room, and then we make sure it's disposed of properly.
That's excellent.
Yeah, it's a great service.
excellent.
The next is the Safe Haven. We use the station now because of the uptick in criminal activity with Craigslist and scams of people trying to rob people when they're selling their items. What we've done is we're alerting our residents to realize that they can come into our lobby, they can come into our parking lot if they want to sell items on Craigslist and they're concerned. They can complete that transaction there, and they can do it in our lobby. They let us know about it. We have a TV monitor out there so we can see what's going on. We don't get involved in the transaction,
Sure.
obviously, but we're there for their safety. And that seems to really be helping out a lot of residents that feel a lot more comfortable
Sure.
selling items, the ones that do wish to sell items on Craigslist.
That's great. That's great.
And then the last thing that we implemented over the last couple of years was the residential home inspections. Anyone who wishes to have a public safety officer to come to their home to make sure the home is safe in regards to fire safety, whether it's electrical outlets, things of that nature,
Okay.
or how things are stored by their furnace, their water heater, we'll do an inspection for them and give them recommendations. Same thing with security in the home. We would be doing the same thing when we do our walkthrough, what we would recommend to keep their home secure and keep them safe.
That's excellent. A lot of services that our department offers, and information will be on the screen for you to take advantage of those, or provide you with additional information on how to sign up for some of those services.
Yeah.
Huntington Woods is a safe community, and we're very fortunate for that. But what are some, sort of in closing, what are some messages that we could give to residents, to help, help prevent them from being a victim, or their property from being, stolen or something like that?
Well, I highly recommend one to make sure that their cars are locked in their driveways or even in the street. Unfortunately, leaving the car unlocked is a crime of opportunity.
Yes.
Not only in Oakland County, but all the counties. Every year we have an extreme high rate of larcenies from vehicles because the cars are unlocked. A lot of the perpetrators that commit these crimes realize that. They do not walk the streets with equipment to force entry into a home, because they know that if we were to approach them, that they would most likely be arrested for having these beanie tools or break-in tools.
Okay.
So most of them would be walking the streets with a backpack on. They could be teenagers, they could be adults, they could, when they walk down the street, you would think nothing of them. But a lot of times late at night, what they'll do is they'll walk down the street and they'll just try doors. So I highly recommend, even in a safe community, that when you lock your doors. The other advice I would give to residents, it's always good to have security lighting in the exterior of their home, whether on the garage or the side of the house, with the sensors. The sensors usually are at a level where they won't pick up the raccoons that walk down the
Sure.
street, or a
Right.
possum that goes up your driveway.
Right.
But the lights will come on if somebody walks up the driveway. That's another form of security that I would recommend. And those high-tech people, let's face it, technology has become very affordable. Several residents, a lot of people have cameras on their porches, have cameras within their home. You can view your security system from your cell phone or your
Sure.
smartphone.
Absolutely.
If they really want to get involved in something like that. But the other thing is, which I've always stressed with residents, is be a good neighbor to your neighbors. If you're going to go on vacation, tell your neighbors you're going to be on
Yes.
vacation. Let them know what cars are going to be there. We also have a watch list for people who are on vacation to call us and let us know what lights are going to be on, who has a key to your home, who's going to be coming over your house. So our officers know that too when they patrol the streets.
Sure.
But I highly recommend being friendly to your neighbors and to have them be aware of when you do go on your vacation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Chief, those are some good tips. And I appreciate you taking time to be on the show. I hope residents at home found this beneficial. We're going to take pause for a brief commercial, a public service announcement. And when we return, I'll have our DPW Manager of Operations and Construction, and we'll talk about some issues related to public works.
We have all kinds of life-saving equipment.
Some of it takes years to master.
One of the most effective?
A key.
A key.
A simple key.
It's for a Knox home box.
It's a single key vault.
Gives us access to your house key.
So we can get inside easily.
When seconds matter.
And only we have a key to open it.
In an emergency, you trust us.
We trust Knox.
Call 1-855-GET-KNOX today.
Hey, Hard, what's this? That's my resignation letter. You're resigning. Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you eat stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit. I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me. Okay. But remember, it's not what you say. It's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
Well, welcome back. I have here from our Public Works Department, Mr. Jay Mader. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's ironic, we're filming here in the end of January, and we're going to be talking about the city's efforts in snow removal, and there is currently no snow on the ground, which of course is atypical for this time of year, but I'm sure between now and the end of winter we'll have some more snow on the ground. So let's talk a little bit about snow removal and sort of the city's process for determining, when we salt and when we plow and sort of how that works.
Well, as we know, pretty much each snow event is not a one-size-fits-all.
That's true.
We get different accumulations. We get, we get a powdery snow. We can get a heavy wet snow.
Sure.
But, usually during the course of a workday, Monday through Friday, at the DPW, that would be my call or my supervisor's call if we had a snow event, come through during working hours of our department. After hours, on a weekend or in the middle of the night, or we depend on the public safety. They are our eyes and our ears because they have a 24-hour staff.
Sure, great.
And also they can decide if it's getting to where the roads are getting slick,
right,
and it becomes a public safety hazard. They'll give us a call. The dispatch will call our home, and we'll dispatch one of our employees.
Okay.
And we'll decide at that point in time what is needed. Usually we start out with salt, try to get the roads clear as quickly as we can. It just depends on the event.
Right. Right.
If we have a large snowfall and a large accumulation, obviously with the news that we have these days, we're pretty much. I know my supervisor and I are on pins and needles almost all night long.
Right.
We're not sure. But we would have our salt trucks out, most definitely. And when we feel that the salt is not able to keep up with trying to keep the roads clear, then we might shift gears and go to our plow trucks. I've been questioned a few times on when do we plow. We've got a kind of a baseline of 4 inches that we would plow, and 4 inches, that's when we bring all the trucks out, try to do what we call major routes. And those major routes consist of like the 11 Mile, Coolidge, Scotia, Lincoln, Nadine, Orgman, up over the hill on Salem and Hendry.
Right.
Then we also have Berkeley, Meadowcrest, and Newport. We try to hit arteries to where a resident can only pretty much go about a block to where they can get to a street that's been at least plowed, if it's a large accumulation of snow.
Sure.
And then after we get that area done, then we branch off into different teams and we try to plow the different sections. And I've broken up this city in 3 different sections.
Okay.
So we consider like Woodward to Wyoming Section 1.
Okay.
Wyoming to Scotia Section 2, which also it would be your northern and your southern parameters.
Right.
And then Section 3 would be Scotia all the way to Coolidge.
Oh, okay.
We do try to rotate. Once we get the majors done, we try to rotate those routes so that we feel it's fair that some people get cleared out first thing in the morning, and some people are going to get it later in the afternoon. But we do try to rotate.
That's good, and the residents should know it's about being fair. And so you may be plowed first for one snow event, and as it rotates through, you may be plowed last for the next one. But it's about fairness, and so everybody gets a chance to be plowed first.
Correct. So if we had a snow event of 3 inches up to 4, we might not plow what we consider those locals, those sections.
Right.
But we would take care of the majors, either by salt or plowing and salting at the same time.
Okay.
So I just want to have that clear with the residents that that we don't always plow, our locals, what we call our local routes.
Okay.
And again, when we get to the different events, you have a slushy, wet, snow, salt usually takes care of it.
Sure.
We would maybe go and do what we call the stops and yields and intersections. And as we are passing through each street, we might do what we call a dash, where we would drop salt for maybe 2 houses.
Okay.
And we might do that, like if you take a normal city block, we might do 2 dashes besides the intersection at either end of the block.
Okay.
So, and with the traveling of cars going back and forth, they have a tendency to draw that salt down.
Move it.
And it will help break it down.
Okay.
Because, as we know, we try to protect our roads. We've been on an ongoing reconstruction to
Yes, we have.
reconstruct our roads.
Yes, we have.
When you're plowing just basically wet, sloppy, wet snow, it's more wear and tear on the equipment, and it's also a lot of wear and tear on the roads because those blades do have what we call a down pressure. So it does put a lot of wear and tear on the road. So it's a tough judgment call.
It is.
And when we start, how we start, and I want to let our residents also know that in large snow events, I can only work my guys 16 hours straight. I have to give them an 8-hour break. So it's a timing factor. How do I go about? Do I just keep certain routes open for public safety to be able, like the major routes, like I described earlier?
Sure.
They would only have maybe a half a block or a full block to get to somebody, but they could get to them quickly off of the major routes if we kept those open.
That's
until the snow event is over, and then we get into our locals and clear up. I wanted to discuss the snow removal on sidewalks.
Oh, yes, yes. So there's a great service we provide.
Yes, very difficult
but
service.
It's difficult.
Very difficult service to provide. Basically, with the snow route, we have 2 pieces of equipment. One is a broom. We have a tractor, 2 little tractors, and both of them have broom attachments.
Okay.
And they both have auger attachments.
All right.
And the difference between that is normally on a light, fluffy snow, up to probably 3 inches. If it's light and it's fluffy, the brooms can handle it. But we get a wet or a heavy snow with a large accumulation, we have to switch over to the augers.
Okay.
And those we do not do on overtime unless I bring the whole staff in. If I bring the whole staff in for a major snow event, we're all working. We're all trying to, clear up what we can. We have people that are on trucks for snow snow removal, and we have people that are on sidewalks to remove the snow from the sidewalks.
Sure.
So with that being said, but we do not normally practice overtime with the snow, with the sidewalk, the clearing of the sidewalks on the snow equipment, and even on the weekend.
Sure.
But getting into the snow events, like a dusting up to maybe an inch, we have what we call a light broom route, and that encompasses like Scotia and a lot of the streets that branch off to Scotia within a block,
Okay.
east or west. So for the kids,
Sure.
and then
Walking to school. And,
walking to
right.
school, try to make it safe for the parents and for the kids. So we call that a light snow route. We also do the outer perimeter of the city, the 11 mile, the Coolidge. We even do 696, and then, because of a route, and we'll also go down and take care of Woodward if we can get through with the parked cars there. So I just want to stress that, but snow brooms are tough, especially when we bring the guys in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
We have a lot of landscape out there, and
Right.
a beautiful landscape.
Right.
And sometimes it's very difficult at night with those tractors for the guys to try to clear snow. And if we have fences, rocks, any type of bushes, landscape material that is too close to the sidewalk, sometimes we clip it. Sometimes we can pick up one of their landscape rocks. It gets into the broom or into the auger, causes damage. Now the broom's broke.
Right.
We have to bring it into the shop, which
Right.
then depends on if we have the parts on the shelf and the damage that was done, if we can get it back on the road as quickly. And I know we've had some concerns about our sidewalk removal, but it's we do our best that we can to try to get them removed as quickly as we can, and hopefully without any incidents.
Sure.
With our equipment.
And you certainly do, and I just want to point out, I mean, ultimately, it's the residents' responsibility, to clear their sidewalk, and they should try to do that as soon as possible after, the snowfall, because, our DPW works very hard, and their primary concern is, clearing the roads so that folks can get to work and kids can get to school if there is school that day. And that the sidewalks are sort of a secondary concern once a lot of those big areas are addressed. So we try to get to the sidewalks when we can, but residents, if you can give us a hand too, and try to clear some of those yourself, so residents can get through even before our DPW has a chance to get
right. And one thing about the brooms I want to stress too is that when the broom goes through, we do not pick up if we see somebody that's already shoveled. Because if we pick up what the broom has compiled in front of that broom, if we lift up, then we leave like a little speed bump almost, so to speak. And it's actually even worse when we're using the augers. The augers are set to approximately 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 an inch higher than the sidewalk because of the unevenness.
Sure.
So with that being said, we can't really lay that auger down on the ground and scrape it. So if you have cleaned your sidewalk and the gentleman lifts his auger, the auger is considered almost like a hopper. It has to fill before the paddles throw. So if we lift up where somebody has already cleared, we are going to leave a mound of snow.
Right.
But if they have it cleared and we're using the auger, it's going to maybe drag a little bit of residue because the snow now is falling out of the hopper, and with that auger being set 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch, it might leave a little coating on what you went out to shovel and made sure it was very clean and it was done from edge to edge. It looked very nice. And we are very apologetic of that, but the reason why we don't lift up is because then we would leave a mound there and if it freezes, somebody could trip.
Right.
So we just try to continue on. But the best removal is the broom, actually, because it stays right on the ground.
Sure.
It follows the contours. The bristles can fold back. So that would be the best way for us to try to clear the snow.
That's great. Let's talk briefly about water mains and water main breaks. And fortunately, I don't think we've had a water main break recently, but in the winter, we tend to have more breaks than we do in the summer. Is that true?
Yes. To say more or less, we do.
Okay.
But don't jinx me on
All
this.
right, I'll try
Our
not to.
department's been very, very fortunate,
Yes.
and especially this winter. And probably one of the reasons why we haven't had a lot of water breaks is because of the weather. We really haven't. We got into that early cold snap, but we bounced back out of it. We've had fluctuations, and that's one of the main reasons why we have a lot of water breaks in the wintertime is if we get really cold without snow, and the frost really starts penetrating deeper into the ground.
Okay.
The ground has a tendency to freeze, which causes it to expand. And when it does that, it puts pressure on the external water mains and the pipe, and that has a tendency to snap them. So, to be in all honesty, our department wishes for snow in a good amount because snow actually acts as an insulator. So if we do drop into severe cold for a long period of time, that helps us. It really, it's beneficial. The ground is insulated from that frost penetrating deep. And the hardest part is when our mains are out in the road, because we are clearing, salting, melting, and as we get those cold snaps, the traveling actually pounds the frost deeper into the ground, and that can cause water breaks. Also, the changing of the temperature of the water that we get from Detroit can cause that. The ground is warm, water is cold. It's kind of like the ice cube effect. You throw an ice cube into warm water, you hear that cracking sound. It's kind of the same thing. But we've had a lot of water breaks also in the summertime when it's hot and it's been very dry. And we purchase our water through Saco, which comes from Detroit.
Sure.
We wholesale it through. But for public safety reasons, if water's being used a lot on sprinklers and showers and car washing and all the things that we do in the summer and maybe do multiple than we would in the winter using the use of water, reservoirs have to be filled, and they usually are filled late in the evening when the demand is down.
Right.
Well, there's a small window for those reservoirs to get filled, so Saco can jack up the pressure to push the water faster to fill the reservoirs, which then that pressure spreads to the surrounding community.
Sure.
And if we have old pipes, which that are old, and some of the soil that they're bedded in are highly corrosive, so our pipes are already at a point where they're to the point where that they just are about ready to go anyhow. So that just makes them pop. And we don't like to see that.
No.
But and then with water breaks, a lot of the questions like what is a sign of a water break, and usually you'll see water mains are under pressure, and with that, when they crack, they are going to find and seek the easiest resistance to surface.
Okay.
So when they surface, usually you will have some kind of a bubbling.
All right.
You might see it pouring into the street, or you'll see a large puddle like in the right-of-way, and the right-of-way is between the curb and the sidewalk.
Sure.
And you might see a slight bubbling there, or brownish, where it's also mixed with the soil.
Sure.
So it turns it brown and it's pouring over the street.
Okay.
Then there's some that it's most definite. We call them blowers, and the water is just coming up 2 feet in the air, and and
it's obvious.
It's very, very obvious, and everything around it. The water is just destroying the road and the easement. And again, public safety is our eyes and ears at night.
Okay.
When they see them, they call us. And sometimes they can drive by in one of their rounds, and nothing's there, and they're going back through the rounds later on, and all of a sudden it could have broke 2 seconds after they drove by. And we've come and we found some. We've had some that have done a lot of damage.
And so if a resident sees that and it's during business hours, they can call Public Works and report that. If it's after hours, they would call Public Safety and report that, and they would in turn notify you folks. And
Absolutely. And just to let our residents know that we're Monday through Friday, usually. That's usually our hours.
Sure.
7:30 to 4. But if they have any apprehension, they can always call our public safety officers, our department, and they can get a hold of us during the day.
Sure.
I mean, if they're just not sure,
Okay.
just go right to public safety.
Go right to public
And they
safety.
know where to direct it to.
That's
but
great.
at any time.
Okay.
But just to let them know out there, pretty much after 4 o'clock, Monday through Friday, we're pretty much shut down.
Well, that's all the time we have
Okay.
for today's show, and I appreciate you being here. Folks, I hope you found today's program beneficial. If you have any questions about today's program or questions about anything going on in the city, you can contact me by email. My email address is jrozell@hwmi.org, or you can contact me by cell phone at 248-719-9169. I'm City Commissioner Joe Rozell, and thank you for joining me again on Commissioner's Corner.
Hart, what's going on?
I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just please, don't leave.
Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
We have all kinds of life-saving equipment.
Some of it takes years to master.
One of the most effective?
A key.
A key.
A simple key.
It's for a Knox home box.
It's a single key vault.
Gives us access to your house key.
So we can get inside easily.
When seconds matter.
And only we have a key to open it.
In an emergency, you trust us.
We trust Knox.
Call 1-855-GET-KNOX today.
Hey, Hard, what's this? That's my resignation letter. You're resigning. Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me, you're half as active as you used to be, and you eat stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit. I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me, okay? But remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.